Muy buenas tardes. El día de hoy tenemos un excelente invitado, Akira Nakamura. Es para mí uno de los más grandes eh, entrenadores en Lean Manufacturing. Tiene mucha experiencia, tiene mucha facilidad de palabra. Y hoy nos va a dar un tema muy importante, ¿sí? Sobre lo que es Production System Implementation Reflection. It's related with the Lean Six Sigma. La explicación que nos va a dar Akira va a ser en inglés, pero ustedes lo van a poder entender porque aunque lo hable en inglés, aunque lo hable en español, las explicaciones que da Akira son muy sencillas y eso es lo importante de él, eso es lo especial de él, que nos ayuda o nos hace explicar o nos enseña lo que es Lean Manufacturing de una forma muy sencilla, muy práctica y que a todo mundo le cae esa o entiende la idea de lo que es Lean Manufacturing. ¿Ya? Pues lo tenemos aquí en Nation Juárez, patrocinado por el Technology Hub. Akira, welcome. Thank you for giving us this time for explaining us about production system implementation reflection. It's an honor for us to having you and explain us what is all your experience related with lean manufacturing, because for me you are the best, one of the best trainers in lean manufacturing, and show us your experience.
Okay, thank you. My name is Eduardo Nakamura. Yo soy de Brasil. Yo hablo portugués. Comprendo un poquito de español, pero yo vivo en Estados Unidos hace 20 años. So I speak English better. So I wanted to show, I started working with Omar some time ago, helping in the Six Sigma training. And I have a few years of experience trying to implement production systems, right? So Lean, Six Sigma, improvement, continuous improvement, how can I say, programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or culture. So after a few years trying everything, trying Six Sigma, trying Lean, trying TPM, I learned a few things. And one of the few things that I learned, that's what I want to show today. It's not exactly about Lean. It's about implementations, how you put in a place, how you make it work. And I'm sorry, it's not the solution. Like, it's not magic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a concept, it's an idea. If you think it makes sense. When I start thinking that way, it made a lot of sense. And then when I start working with Toyota people, I am not Toyota alumni, okay? I didn't work with Toyota. I actually learned a lot more TPM before. But working with Toyota or Toyota people, it's interesting to see how they learn fast. They see something different, they look, investigate, and then they change. They're very good at that. So that's something that I noticed, and then I kind of confirmed what I was thinking before, right? So let me share my screen.
All right.
Let me see. I hope this works right. Share. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
So that is a PowerPoint. Production system implementation. It's a reflection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the subtitle there, the other part is adding the time dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
People want to implement production system, but they want to implement the tools to be successful, but they forget about the past. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit, right? So what does it mean adding the time dimension? So first of all, quick introduction. Oops, sorry. That's me. So 25 years of manufacturing. Currently, I work for Merck MSD Pharmaceuticals, but before food, consumer packaged goods, warehouse and distribution, packaging, glass, plastics, everything. So I'm from Brazil, live in Pennsylvania, and you can see my details there. Okay. So when you start thinking about the evolution of TPS, you have to, and that's the important part. The word is evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? So put in the horizontal scale. So since 1950s to now, right? I understand that Toyota started in the 1800s, right? With the automatic loom that started the concept of the quality, always good quality, right? The automation, right? The machine stops by itself when it causes a defect, right? But the system itself, it's after the war, right? Everything that they learned was after the war, the World War II, right? So think about that, like 1950s. That's when what's his name, Mr. Ono was there, changing everything, right? And then think about the evolution of Toyota. So I'm not gonna put a number, but if I could put a number to say the evolution, they're moving, right? So they're moving, they're moving up, they're constantly evolving with time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why did that happen? So the system evolved after the war, right? And it continues to change. So it started from a business need. So the question at that time was, okay, now I see a Ford line, right? I have a assembly line, so I bring a assembly line to Japan. Can I make cars economically? So you have to remember, here in the U.S., uh, you could make cars and you could sell.
Mm-hmm.
There was a market. So the same assembly line in Japan, you make the same amount of cars. Let's say 50,000 cars a year. Here in the U.S., you can sell them easy at that time. In Japan, like imagine there's not a 50,000 people ready to buy cars, right? So what do you do with assembly line? So right away
Mm-hmm.
your cost goes away, right? Because whatever you build, it goes to inventory and nobody buys.
Mm-hmm.
And then the consumer is different, right? So they want different cars, different colors. So what if you're making 10,000 black cars, 10,000 red cars, 10,000 white cars? Like you have to wait how many months? 2 3 months to get the car of your color.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
doesn't work, right? So that was the business needed. It started from a need, and people forget about that. They forget to ask, like, why did they do this, right? And the same thing happens to us, right? When we try to implement continuous improvement system, like, why are we doing this? Because if there's no business need, nobody gets on board, right? What else? So what Toyota is it is a learning system. The TPS is a learning system. It's constantly problem solving and creating solutions. Constantly, they're always looking for something better. They're always looking for something better. It's cultural, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with Jidoka automation and then JIT. And I start thinking about this because if you think, I was in school in 1980s to 1990s, right? And they were just starting to talk about JIT, and it was not called TPS. They called JIT. It's the just in
Mm-hmm.
time, right? So the name changed. Before that, what was that? TQM, right? Total Quality Management.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means that the system evolved. They learned a few pieces and they kept moving, and then finally somebody said lean, and then Toyota took it back and said Toyota Production System, right? Because lean
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the story is a, how can I say, it's a marketing to sell consultancy, right?
Yeah.
You're selling consulting services, right? So think about that. Now you have to understand, right? There's evolution. They're evolving. It's constant movement forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
think your company. Now imagine this revolution in your company, right? It's different. It's not evolution, it's revolution. So you're kind of started sometime in the past, and to now, same dimension, right? But now it's your company production system evolution, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
happens? Flatline, right? To be honest, it's probably a little sloped up, but
Yeah.
let's exaggerate, right?
Yeah. or
So
think,
it's flat, right?
yeah, right, yeah, or even in another company is going down, but I don't know.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, yeah.
That too, right? So think about this, and all of a sudden, boom, okay, everybody, we hired a consultant, or we're gonna do 5S, right? Or we're gonna do problem solving, you're gonna do the MEC training, you're gonna do Six Sigma training, right? So you try to implement any tools. I don't care if it's TPS, TPM, any other tool. So this is what we do, right? We try to push the system up in a revolutionary way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? And then you imagine that after that we're gonna continue evolving, right? Like
Yeah.
Toyota, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then if you compare, like, yeah, we're gonna be in the same as Toyota is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the secrets, right? That one of the things that Toyota does is Toyota teaches this to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? They send people to be to train other companies, even GM or Ford, or like they send people, right? Because they're not afraid of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not gonna get there. You're not gonna get to the same level. It's not the same path, right?
Yeah.
So that's the interesting part. They're not afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that made me think too.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. So you have a question?
No, 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 no. For me, this is very clear.
Okay. So the hope is to catch up and then continue the path, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what else? So you have to think what else happened with Toyota, right? So we started with this conversation, right? The TPS evolution,
Mm-hmm.
but there's more, right? There's at the same time, two other things changed. One is the culture. The culture changes with the evolution,
Mm-hmm.
and also the organizational structure.
Mm-hmm.
So before managers did this, now managers doing this something different. Now managers doing something different. Now managers are coaches, and then they start. They change the structure, right? They think different, and this evolve all together, right? So it's in conjunction. It's all together,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah.
learn, they change. They learn, they change. Okay,
Yeah. Sure.
so that's the difference, right? The company the company has adapted and organized and learned how to organize to win.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk to Toyota people, that's incredible. Like they'll say, yeah, Toyota, I had everything. Everything was already there.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you talk with somebody from Toyota now, they'll say, yes, I had process engineers. Yes, I have everybody trained. Yes, I have this. Yes, I have that. Right. So when they go out in the different companies, they'll say, I can't believe this. Like they don't have this. They don't have a process engineer. They don't have this department. Right. They don't have a system for this. So that gave me the other part of this, right? So trying to understand the other dimensions, the culture and the organizational structure. So that line on the organizational structure is not going up, it's flat.
Yeah.
Most of the companies,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think people forgot these dimensions, right? There's a time dimension. There's also evolution on the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
other parts of the company, right? Other parts that make it work. That's why it's a system, right? Now they call it a system. So now back to your place, right? So you're trying to implement this in your place, your company, and I've done this in a few companies already. Now I'll be honest, I failed 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one piece that actually worked. It was beautiful. But imagine this, right? So you receive your marching orders to implement your system, and you start implementing tools. I don't know, different companies try different things, right? One of my first companies tried 5S,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very rare for me to see like companies doing really good with 5S. They do really good with 3S, right?
Yeah, it's one of the tools that they think that this is only to have the space clean and something, but they never know are related with the, you need to make the waste visible. is one of the biggest challenge with the 5S.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there's more to that, right? So there's like where 5S fails is in the last two S's, right?
yeah.
Which is exactly the part that is related to organizational culture and organizational structure.
Hmm.
Like the your company is not prepared to maintain 5S.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest problem, right? So what happened here, right? Same thing. You start your company, you start on your battle to implement, right? And the companies did probably most of the companies tried, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times already. Most of the
Yeah.
companies, yeah, we did this, yeah, we did that, yeah, we tried 5S, and then you go talk to the employees. They'll say, yeah, another flavor of the month, right? Another thing that we're gonna try to do, right? So and then they don't pay attention, especially the hourly people, right? The shop
Hmm.
floor people. They don't pay attention to you, right? So that's a big part, right? So we're trying to do this. So what happened? So if and the behaviors that remain the same. So important word for me is behaviors of everybody, not only shop floor but managers, right? So and then the other thing that we talked about, that the organizational structure is not changed, is not transformed, so
Hmm.
it's all
Okay.
flatline,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? So what happened
Yes.
when you do this?
Mm. Yeah. 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 This tema is, yeah. Go back
it,
to eventuality. Yes.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
back.
Hmm. Yeah.
So eventually it goes back, right? Because it's the standard work, right? So the concept from Toyota's works here perfectly, right? So your standards are how can I say, perfectly good to make what you current make, right?
Hmm.
So if your standards in the company culture and the company structure don't change, you're gonna go back to make what you were making before.
Yeah. Or even worse.
Or even worse, yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of times what happens when they try to implement improve continuous improvement is you
Hmm.
send people you let people go, right? Because
Hmm.
now we
Yeah.
got the savings. Oh no, we don't need 2 people here, let go,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So that's what happened. It gets worse because when you try to go back, you have two less people to run,
Hmm.
right? So this was the aha moment for me, like, okay, this is where we fail, right? So what is the secret of this, right? So then the efforts fail, but what is the secret for this, right? So in what I call, what is the way forward? I'm not giving the recipe, but we are missing something really big here, which is this part. We're missing the learning, right? The organization learned 5S. The organization learned, sorry, not organization. Some people learned 5S. Some people learned the MEC. And that's another one. I see a lot of companies with a lot of black belts,
Yeah.
but the company still doesn't do well,
Hmm.
right? Because they got the knowledge, but they missed uh, everybody else. Nobody else learned,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, it's one of, yeah, yeah, is one of the thing, is one of the things that we need to have very special attention, because as you mentioned, in a very few months you need to, or you want to implement everything. Yeah, but as you mentioned, your culture is not implemented, your staff or your structure is not implemented, or is not good for the new tools. And this is one of the things that we are going to fail, because we need to implement everything in a very small amount of time, implement everything.
Yes. And because people, the entire population of the factory or the company didn't learn everything, didn't learn why we're doing, right? There's no business need, right? Didn't learn because they didn't have time to participate, They didn't learn because we solved the problem that they don't have, right? So they're not interested in learning. So there's a lot of things that you see. And I've done that too, right? I've done so. Oh, let's go eliminate that scrap. But like, who does it that help? We didn't help the operator, or we didn't help the engineer or the manager. I'm not interested in that, right? So they don't learn. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
interested, they don't participate, they don't learn, right? So it's a missed learning. So what's important here is match. We have to somehow try to match organizational to structure to the plan, right? So if we're gonna implement, we have to bring the right people in place. It's not like bringing let's bring a black belt. No, let's bring a process engineer, somebody that can think and start implementing. Uh, uh, how can I say? It's not even implementing. It's like actually taking action. Let's bring
Mm-hmm.
people to take actions. It's the accountability part that we were talking before, right? Let's create accountability for actions. And then if we don't have enough people, we transform the organization. We bring more people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We bring people that is capable of taking the actions, right? So we had to think all about that. How, like, who can think? How can I say? Who can help with Kanban systems? Who can help with um, problem solving, teaching, training? Who can? And then start bringing everybody together. Do we have a human resources that can help with teaching people, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to organize different, right? The other thing is we need to allow time for learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
One simple experience for me, right? So implementing tier meetings,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like everybody thinks, oh no, that's easy. We'll go do tier 1, 2, 3, 4, all right?
Yeah.
They put in place, and here's the material, here's the chart, here's how you do everything, right? And then they start doing, and you never get any result from that, right? So what I learned out of that is, like, I don't give the entire package, right? I give like half of the package or less. Say, start here.
Yeah, but one of the for me the missing things is that the in the team meetings is that the one thing that you tell us some time ago is related with when we implemented some action we didn't or we don't implement the standard. We don't start with the standard or change the PDCA related with the standard do, check, and act in order to implement all the corrective action in the standard.
Yeah.
For us, is the one of the for me is the most the mistake that we make when we implement the tier meetings.
Yeah. So you have to think that you have to bring people, like, when we have children, right? And we take them through the school. We don't teach them calculus.
Yeah,
We teach them 1 + 1, 2, 1 +
yeah,
1, 2, 1 + 1,
right.
2, right? It's standard. We teach the standard and repeat, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they don't remember anymore. They was like, yeah, 1 + 1, 2, 1 + 1, 2. Like, it's fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
That part is also learning. Like, we're training them. It's the same thing. The only thing is we don't have time to do in 70 years like Toyota, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to do whatever years. It takes 3 years, 4 years. We have to give that time for learning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same thing for tier implementation. For me, tier implementation, I always tell people when I'm implementing tiers, right? Yeah, start with this, but let's talk about 3 or 4 months from now, right?
Yeah.
And they'll start, like, they start playing with it. It doesn't work. And then the other thing for me is a daily coaching, right? I'm every day in the tier, and it's, hey, you forgot that. Hey, did you take that action? Hey, your number is red. What's happened? Hey, somebody didn't put the data there, right? And it's constant until people start remembering. It's a 1 + 1, 2, 1 + 1, 2. Like, I'm
Yeah.
constantly, do the simple thing first, do the simple thing first, do the simple thing first. And then
Yeah.
eventually they start learning and say, hey, that KPI is wrong. Like, the KPI is not doing anything for me. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's similar like you when you practice some sport. Even if you are a professional, you need to practice the basic every day,
Basic every day.
basic every day. Even if you have a, even if you are the professional or you are the the best player of the soccer or basketball or football, but you need to practice every day the basics.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's the same thing for like airplane pilots, right?
Hmm.
They have to practice the basics, right? And the basics is in the checklist every day. Everything they do, checklist, a checklist, right? It's very simple. If people don't like checklists, like people like engineers, managers in the factories will say, I don't need a checklist. I already know what to do, right? But if you think like the most complicated uh, jobs, professions, like an airline pilot or astronaut, right? You need a checklist. They work with checklists.
Hmm.
So why can't you use checklists, right? That's one of the simple things. It's one of the learnings that I have was like checklist. Wow, right? I understand why people don't like it, but it's not because they're stupid, because they think, oh, I have to use a checklist because they think I'm stupid. No, you have to use a checklist because it's it's dangerous. You can
Hmm.
kill people, or right, you can die, right? So that's why you do that. And then it doesn't mean that you're bad. It means that you are a good professional, right?
Yeah.
People don't
Hmm.
understand the standard. Like following a standard is being a good professional, right? So we have to let them learn. We have to make sure that we need to allow all the employees to uh, have time to experiment, right? Or uh, help everybody to experiment. So, okay, that you want to try that? Yeah. Are you gonna kill anybody? No. Is that gonna damage the machine? No. Yeah, try. Let's try. Let's try together. Get the data. Get the information back, and let's learn together, right? Even if it takes 5 extra minutes of downtime, right? Let's try this and learn, but document,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's creating that process. It's like automatically people, it's not like the employee will try his own solutions and then he won't tell anybody, but when he comes back his shift, he changes the machine because it worked better for him. But you as a manager, you don't know, right? But if you
Hmm.
go there and experiment with the employee and say, oh my God, this is really good, okay, let's try all 3 shifts, I saw this, hey, let's try this solution, right? That changes completely because now there was a learning process,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a learning management system because that's the first thing everybody does. Like, let's train everybody. Train. We need a training process. We hired a trainer, right? A
Yeah.
specialist in training, and then we put a computer system. Like, it's not that. It's letting people learn, and then we create the supporting system, right? It's not about knowledge management. Like, there are companies that will put big systems and they say, yeah, put your improvement here, and then everybody can see it. I I haven't seen a company like that stay in business, to be honest. I was thinking about that. Like the company that I used in my past, like doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
It's like it's not about software. The learning process is more important, not what was learned.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is correct. The process of learning, because is when you are getting the experience to do the things. Is when, even if you, because if you are focused on in learn, you, I think you lost the experience for the training process, the training
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, so that's the other difference that I noticed in one of my companies is that they talk so much about the training, but they forgot about the learning part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So this is the important part, right? So when you do that, you miss the learning. Can we change instead of going straight up? Can we change to more angled? Yes, we can. I think we should. right? Because then we give that little time for people to learn. But there's more into that too, right? So if you go slow, people don't see, how can I say, the other thing, right? So if you think in this 50, 90, in this 70 years, how many generations of plant managers went through? How many supervisors in 1950 were plant managers in 1970, and they retired, they trained other people, right? So it's all that, it's all planning, like who's the next plant manager, who's the next VP of manufacturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to get all that learning. And the other thing is, what if a plant manager stays 20 years in the same position? So where does the process engineer go? The process engineer that learned everything.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason we lose the implementation, right? So we tried 5S, we hired an engineer, we put him there, and then we lost him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm completely, completely agree with you because when we are in the company, you say, all right, we need to implement the 5S. When? In 2 weeks. All right, in 2 weeks we need to implement 5S. Yes, because we need to show to the new customer, or we need to implement that TPS, or we need to implement the TPM. Yeah. And right now you say, okay, I'm going to implement it, but you lost, as you mentioned, the learning process.
Yeah. What is the business objective? What is the need for the tool, right? And then when I try to implement in my company, what happened, right? So what are the obstacles? Who helped? Who didn't help, right? All that is lost. Like nobody's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So important thing, installing an effective management system and coaching system, right? So as I was saying before, right? So like put a very good tier process, because a very good tier process does that. It creates, how can I say, the pull for the tool, right? So hey, we keep having this problem, we keep having this problem, like what is the solution, what is the tool? 5S.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So let's do 5S. Okay. So I don't need a process engineer specialized in 5S for that. I can, hey, operator, come here. Hey, process engineer for the line, come here. Let's solve this problem here. That's 5S here, because we're losing time searching for parts, or we're losing time for whatever reason here, right? And then they learn together. Hey, this is 5S here. And I love 5S because now I can work better, right? I have a reason, I have a business reason, I have a control. And I learned too why I did 5S there, right? I remember doing 5S before, like putting tape on the floor, like the operator's looking at me like, why do I need tape on the floor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So like the business reason that we gave to them was like, oh yeah, because then you know where to stop cleaning, right? Because the next guy start cleans to the other side. Like, yeah, like how does it help me? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, right? So that's the other thing. And then that's the other part is the coaching part, right? Which I now do is I say, when somebody brings up, hey, we can do 5S, and then I ask, and it's not really good, and I say, why do you want to do 5S there? Like, explain what your thought process is. Oh yeah, it's looking dirty. Like, okay, well, maybe it's not 5S, right? If it's looking dirty,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's okay to look dirty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's normal. Sometimes it's an impression. Like, how does this affect your operation? Does it affect your product? Does it affect your operator? No, not really. Okay, so no, it's not 5S. We may need to problem solve that, but it's not 5S,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's all that thinking, right? What else? So what else is in the way for? I was saying management system, right? So get started. The most important thing is don't aim to at perfection. We don't
Mm-hmm.
need perfection. One of the things that I learned is, okay, let's do 5S, let's do problem solving, let's train everybody on the make, and then we want them operating right there, right? Like really good in the beginning. Uh, it's not that. So my experience so far, the best ones, right, that I'm having is, oh, let's do a tier meeting correctly. Okay, let's meet with operators only. Oh, let's meet with supervisors only. It's what I call a tiered meeting, right? Every tier is a layer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk with all the directors, right? And then we organize them correctly. But we just get them started, and they start learning. Uh, because the good process, what I call the right process, is self-correcting. We are very intelligent people. Like when we see something going in the wrong direction, we correct it. Even implementation, it's very strange. So even if we start the wrong tier process, it actually self-corrects.
Yeah.
Of course, there's need for a coach, but people will say like, oh, this is not working. This is not working. Let's change this. Okay, go ahead. Let's change it, right? And then they start learning.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but change it, but standardize it because
Yes.
it's a way that that you are going to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Standardize, like change it, try for a few days or a few weeks, right? Not
yeah.
change every day. Like, yeah, it still didn't work. Change. It still didn't work. No, let's try it for 1 week, and then let's do a reflection, like why
Mm-hmm.
this didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
and then we learn again, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is the process. This is the process of learning that you are mentioned.
Yes, it's very important. You can apply everywhere, right? Uh, the other thing that I emphasize is change behaviors first. So I'm not, how can I say, people may want to kill me. And then sometimes I ask myself, like, why should I
Mm-hmm.
start with this or not with 5S or not with problem solving or Kanban or whatever, right? So you have to change the behaviors first. You have to
Mm-hmm.
change the people in there first. So and yet, because why? Because to change culture is very complicated. You cannot change everything at once. You change a little by little,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So, and then you have to target behavior. So right now, what I do is when I come into a place, I target certain behaviors. Like what I want is focused daily Gemba walks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's managers in all levels. I don't want just the supervisor that participated in the Kaizen, right? So VP, you also go there and check once a month. I don't know, right? And then we have to teach the VP. We have to teach the behavior, like just simply going there and asking a few questions. It's enough, or understanding what's going on. Just looking is enough, right? And then the other piece that we talked before, right? The SDCA, standardize, do check, and adjust standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part that we should focus first, which is to verify the standards of work every day. So that's another interesting part that I've observed. A lot of people will think standard is just standard work. It's just
Yeah.
the movement charts, right? The combination charts, yeah, and especially the automotive people and assembly people just think about that. And I'm saying no, you have to look at other safety standards, other standards, like there's safety standards,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like PPEs, lockout, tagout, right? Hazmats, everything, right? There's standards. We have the standards of standard work, which is like combination charts, everything. Then we have quality standards, quality control plans. Then we have equipment standards, like uh, I forgot the checklist for equipment conditions and settings, right? Process settings, equipment settings, pressures, volumes, flows, uh, distances, position of rails, position of equipment, right? Oh, sorry, I forgot one, materials, right? But it's actually materials should be in quality control plans, but there are maintenance plans, preventive maintenance. That's a standard.
Mm-hmm.
People don't look at that. There's so many things to look in the standard, right? And then 5S is also there, right? So I think there's, how can I say, we miss a lot of stuff, right? because we're not looking at the everything, and we should look at everything that interferes into the operation or into the worker performance, right?
Mm.
So that's there. So standardize and make sure that it's the same. What else? And here I'm putting this arrow here to talk about, let's figure out the abnormals.
Yeah, yeah. This one for me is one of the main things that we need to do, because we need to check, because we can predict that the next day, because someday you make, for example, 100 pieces, but the next day, how many pieces that you're going to get? 80, 90, 100, 75. You can know what is that, how it's going to be the next day.
Yeah. And then you have to make sure that you have a really bad day. What do you do? Like, I don't want to repeat the same bad day, right?
Yeah,
Ask that question. Ask this. The
yeah,
thing that I teach people is like, how do I stop the same problem from repeating in the next 24 hours?
yeah.
It's like
But
very,
yeah, and you ask to the supervisor, and you say, we are going to have a better results tomorrow, and the supervisor says, I hope so.
yeah,
But
hope.
I hope, but he or they don't, or they will not want sure about it, because they don't have a standard, they don't have anything,
Yes.
or the tools to assure a better results than today.
And there's no learning process, right? What I
Yeah,
learned today, I'm gonna use tomorrow, right? So
yeah,
that's very interesting. Like, that's one of the indications that there's no learning. Like, the supervisor doesn't think, or there's no, how can I say, reaction to what was a problem today. Can I stop from coming back right away, right? So
hmm,
that's a question that I always ask. So we as engineers, we like to improve. We like to do big things. We like to say, yeah, this is very interesting. Let's change that, and then this is going to be 10% better, right? But the operator is still fighting those things, right? So like, he's not interested in that improvement. He's interested in like, why do I have to keep coming back here on jammed equipment, right? Even
yeah,
if you improve there,
hmm,
right? It didn't help my day, right? So engineers try to, we tend to like those improvements, right? So, but first, if we don't take care of the abnormals, the improvements don't matter,
hmm, yeah, hmm,
right? So that's another thing that I keep telling people, like, forget the improvements. I really don't need the continuous improvement. Like, here in the US, we use a lot of the front shoes, right? The uh, uh, como se dice, antes y después.
yeah,
A picture of before and picture of after, right? Yeah,
yeah,
we changed this to that. Like, okay, no, let's fix what the abnormals are first, right? Because uh, they don't have time. People don't have time for that. So let's fix those first, and then when the situation improves, those problems go away. Then I have time to do those improvement, right? And I've seen one factory do that very well. After going there for like 3 years, I saw like, first time I went to the factory was like, I saw their list of things to do. I say, oh my God, there's like 20 things in the list every day. 20
yeah,
things. Oh, we need to do that. We need to do that. Yeah, that's bad. That's wrong. Oh, we need to do that. And then the list was like that. After 4 years, and then I noticed, I don't think they noticed, but after 4 years, they were like 3 actions a day.
yeah. But the most important, or the worst of this, is that if you have 20 things to do in every day, you are going to do it only to place the check mark, check
Yeah.
mark, check mark, check mark. You do it,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What did you learn about it? Nothing.
Nothing.
I only close it.
Yeah, and then I learned 10% of 20 things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
instead of learning 100% of one or two things.
Yeah.
So that's the other piece is prioritization, right? So we always have to prioritize. So always choose your abnormals and then always ask the question, right? How do I stop this from coming back right away? How do I stop from coming back in the next 24 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I have 10 of them, like choose, I have people to work on three. Okay, we choose three. So it's different behaviors, but we allow people to learn if we do it that, right? If we prioritize, we say we're gonna work on only three, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have time to work on those three
Yeah.
instead of trying to, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bye bye. I'm going home. I'm tired,
Yeah.
right? So that's different. What else? So make sure that the organization support the team, right? So one of the things that I always say is like make sure that there's common sense of winning or losing, right? So we have green or red, and there's common KPIs. Everybody from operator to manager, people look at the metrics the same way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Scorecard, right? So safety, quality, people, delivery, uh, cost, right? Usually, like we use PSQDC, right? People,
Yeah.
safety, quality, delivery, and cost,
In cost. Yeah.
right? Different companies use different ways, but that's okay. The other thing is related to the tiered process system, right? Which is right work at the right level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is hard. This is the accountability part that we talk about, right? We need people on the floor solving
Yeah.
their own problems, not
Yeah.
managers deciding for them,
Yeah. And we and
right?
we
That doesn't
eh,
work.
yeah, and we need to we need to do another presentation related with this because as you explained, the way that you explained the management system is very good, and for me is the best thing that or the one of the best training related with accountability related with the levels.
Yep,
I need to we need to do
we'll do it.
another presentation because we need to check it.
Yep, we'll do it soon.
Yeah.
So again, back to that, right? So tier process is very important.
Mm-hmm.
The management system, the management system is very important. And sometimes when we work through this, sometimes we have to go all the way to the VP level to get everything fixed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're disconnect, they're asking the wrong questions. They're because they learn here and they're trying to apply here, right? They learned at the low level, but they're trying to apply at the high level. It doesn't work. Or they learn at the high level and they try to apply to the low level. It doesn't work because the dimension is different, the reaction is different, or the knowledge is different, right? So it doesn't work.
Mm.
So we have to have the right work at the right places. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? We need to link the tools to the needs, right? So what is the business need? What do I what how do I know that I need something? And I go back to the chart, right? What do I need? I need something to solve my red,
Yeah.
right? If the problem is a 5S related on that red, yeah, go apply 5S. But if it's not, if you just throw 5S, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Like people don't get ownership because they didn't learn.
Mm-hmm.
They were told to do 5S, not that they can use 5S to improve, make their day better to win. People like winning teams. People like to win. People like to be in the winning side, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and that's important. What else? The other thing that I learned out of this is that we need to adapt the tools to the needs. So 5S Toyota Way may not apply to your company. The concept, I'm not saying the concept is wrong. It's just how you apply
Mm-hmm.
is
Yes.
different, right? Because the
Yes.
culture of the company is different.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Toyota has a process engineer to do that. Like we don't have. So how do we do it? You have to adapt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's part of the learning process too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
right?
learn it. You learn it. And the second, you adapt. And the third step is how do you learn and how you can improve it.
Yes. So how can I say? As I said before, right? I was not going to give you a solution for the problem, but it's a thought process, right? Think about this. Like, how can you make your implementation, the production system implementation, survive?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about the organization. You have to think about the culture, right? One of the things that I learned, and I'm seeing good results from what I'm doing, is this, right? You have to transform the organization, even if you don't have the power to do the entire thing, but change how people think, make them participate in the learning,
Mm-hmm.
and have a very good management system, a tiered process, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what maintains things, right? It allows you to maintain things because that's where the accountability is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think I'm done.
Yeah. No, for me it's perfect because we have because we need to make another videos related with the first the related with the
Management
accountability.
system, yes.
Accountability. Yeah, because in another is related with the problem solving. But this one for me is one of the is very important to know why the companies fails to implement a new culture or to implement the tools, yeah, or to implement new tools to improve. If we are going to implement 5S, and we maybe, or sometimes we are very proud and say, oh, we implement 5S in 2 weeks or in one month, but you really do you really know about it, the process of the learning process, and how to what is the process to implement it, what was your fails in related to implementation of 5S, and what was the results of this, not only a program, not only to 5S, only to show to my customers or to the top management that we have a 5S, is a process that we have related with this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be glad to on a different day we talk about the organizing for accountability.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought this was a, how can I say, something good to make people think. And then if you get questions, please send them to me.
Yeah. If you, yeah, I'm going to add your email related with this presentation, in order to if some people has a question or have another doubts related with this we can you can talk with them. Yeah, and
Yep.
for me was very important presentation. Was the is a very good tool to implement, or how to implement the production system. Yeah, across in the time. Yeah, for me and Akira, was a pleasure to have it, to give us this learning for this is learning, because
You
for
can say
me,
Spanish.
yeah. Pues muchas gracias por compartir este
Nada.
conocimiento con nosotros, y pues para nosotros es muy importante, porque pues para mí, yo te considero que eres uno de los que más sabe en cuestiones del Lean, ¿sí? Y pues muchas gracias. Thanks very much.
Gracias. Hasta
Yeah.
luego.
Hasta luego. Aquí en Nakamura, lo tuvimos aquí en Nation Juárez, programa Nation Juárez, patrocinado por el Technology Hub. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Akira.